Morning. I want to say a word about appropriate and inappropriate Purim Torah in this particular moment. I'm going to use the Talmud to do so. In Tractate Megillah, page 14a. Tanu Rabbanan. Arba'im shmone nevi'im v'sheva nevi'ot nitnamu lahem le'Yisrael v'lo patchu v'lo hotiru al ma shekatuv b'Torah chutz mimikra Megillah. So, it is taught in an early rabbinic teaching that there were 48 prophets and 7 prophetesses who prophesied for Israel, and they didn't subtract or add anything to that which was written in the Torah, with the exception of Megillah, the reading of the Megillah. My darush, what gave them the authority to do such a thing? Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abin, Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Korcha, Uma me'avdut lecherut, Amrinan shira memita lechaim lo kol shechein. Well, if when we went from slavery to freedom, we sang songs of praise, when we've gone to the cusp of death to life, all the more so we should sing songs of praise, right? Gemara comes back, Ihachi Hallel nami nema. Well, if that's the case, if going from death to life means singing songs of praise, shouldn't we sing Hallel, the particular set of psalms that are liturgized into a service on holidays? Seems appropriate, but we don't say those psalms. We don't say Hallel on the holiday of Purim. Why? Lefi she'ein omrim Hallel al nesh shebechutza la'aretz, because the miracle on Purim happened outside the land of Israel. Really? We only say Hallel for things that happen inside the land of Israel? The Talmud replies, Yetziat Mitzrayim denesha bechutza la'aretz, hechi amrinan shira. But leaving Egypt itself was a miracle that happened in Egypt. But on Passover and all of the other redemption holidays, we say Hallel. Actually, it goes like this, the Gemara says, Kedetanya ad shelo nichnasu Yisrael la'eretz, sharu kol artzot lomar shira menishnichnasu Yisrael la'eretz. Lo sharu kol ha'artzot lomar shira. Well, okay, fine. As long as we hadn't yet entered the land of Israel, it was permitted to sing songs of praise, Hallel, for events that happened outside of the land. But once we began to settle the land, we could only say shira, songs of praise, for things that happened in the land. Rav Nachman comes along and says something different. He says, actually, Amar kriyata zo halila. Rav Nachman Amar, he says that the reading of the Megillah itself is Hallel. And so we do, in fact, say Hallel on Purim. We just say it differently, not through Psalms, but for the reading of the book itself, which, of course, is a difficult position to take. One, because the Megillah is not songs of praise. It's a story being told. And also, nobody would suggest, and the Meiri, the medieval French commentator, brings this up, if one doesn't have a Megillah, if one can't recite Megillat Esther, nobody suggests that Hallel will take its place. So Rav Nachman, so Rava comes along, Bishlama hatam, Hallelu avdei Adonai, velo avdei paro. It makes sense there to say Hallel, meaning when we left Egypt, because we then served God and we no longer served Pharaoh. Elahacha, but in this story, Hallelu avdei Adonai velo avdei Achashverosh, achte avdei Achashverosh anan. But here, we are serving God, but also still Achashverosh. Achashverosh is still in charge, which is to say, on Purim, we are celebrating a middle moment of the story, not the end of the story. On Purim, we don't say the full repertoire of praise. We don't sing the full repertoire of praise because at the end of the day, an Achashverosh is still in charge, and an Achashverosh is a leader who could, on a wind, with a light wind, change his mind and put everybody back under the death sentence. And Achashverosh is a leader one cannot trust. And so even when there is a middle of the story that is redemptive, Purim recognizes it's not the end of the story. Look, there is inappropriate Purim Torah. Just because one can compare one thing to another doesn't mean one has to. I'm sure we'll get a lot of takes this year about Haman and Persia and the story being reenacted on Purim. And those stories, those comparisons, those analogies should make us deeply uncomfortable. There are far too many people still in danger. Israelis are in and out of bomb shelters. May the memories of those 9 lost in Beit Shemesh this morning be for a blessing. There are populations in Israel, minority populations, Palestinians, Arabs, who don't have the same infrastructure with which to go in and out of bomb shelters. Throughout the Middle East, bombs are falling, and of course the Iranian people are too often the victims of their brutal, tyrannous dictatorship that God willing, will change. Nahafochba will be flipped on its head. But bombs don't often distinguish. So let's figure out a way to Jewishly mark the middle of the story this year. Let's use good Purim Torah. Why don't we say Hallel? Why is it inappropriate to say Hallel on Purim to help guide us to meet this moment in a way that makes emotional sense? Chag Purim Sameach.